What I have here is a 2024 Kawasaki Z1000, also referred to as a Ninja 1000. And today what I want to do is add the power port that goes in this spot right here. Now Kawasaki offers an option you can get from them to put a power port there. It's a little pricey, so what I just did is I'm going to buy a generic outlet that I can put there just off the internet. But the nice thing is that since they offer that, they already have a plug available just to plug straight into. So let me get a little light down in here, see if I can show you where that goes. This is probably the hardest part of the whole thing, is just figuring out where the plug is. But if you look down in there, you'll see on the left side, down inside the front fairing here, you can see this plug right here. That should be pretty obvious to find. Right in front of it, there's a wire loom that runs right here, and on that wire loom you'll see some electrical tape. And so right on the back side of that tape is holding the plug just from flopping around in there, because it's not connected to anything. So what you'll need to do is get down inside there and pull that plug out from under the tape, and then you can connect your outlet to that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this side panel, give me a little more access. And to do that, there's a one bolt right there. There is a push plug right there, and then I think I'm also going to remove the bolt that's right above the power port just to give me some better access. So let me get that off of there, and then we'll take another look. Okay, so once you get those fasteners removed, what you need to do is carefully pull back on the plastic, and there's some pins that go into the rubber grommets. There's, I think, 3 or 4 of them around there, but you need to carefully pull the top loose, and then there's one right here. And then once you get that loose, you just slide the whole thing forward, and it comes off. So it's hooked in the front on these little hooks, and then there's 1, 2, 3 rubber grommets on the top, and then there's the one down here. You just need to carefully pull that back to get that loose. But now that that's off of there, we can get down inside there and see things a little better. So I'm going to reach down in there and I'm going to get that plug loose so you can see what that looks like. Okay, with this side panel removed, I was able to reach down in there and get that plug pulled out from under the tape. And so this is what it looks like, and it's just wiring that ends in a connector, and then there's nothing coming out the other side. And so what you need to do is remove the cover, and to do that there's a little clip where the wires go in under my thumb. You need to maybe take a little small screwdriver and pry up on that clip, and then gently pull the cap off. You know, want to be careful not to damage the wiring or anything. Just, you know, be real careful when you're pulling that cap off of there, and then that'll get the actual connector exposed. It's a two-handed job, so I'm going to turn the camera off and do that, but then I'll show you what it looks like after I got it off of there. Okay, so I got the cap removed, and so then this is what the end of the connector looks like. You'll be this is where you'll get the power then for the port that you want to put in. And then the cap, I'll show you this here. So on the cap, let me get this flipped over here. So this little tab on the top is what you need to lift up on. That'll let you pull this cap off. And now this cap is actually a connector. So you can see those 2 plugs in the end. If you remove those rubber plugs and have the right pins, you can put your wiring back into this and actually use this to plug back on to the connector down in there. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that here next. Okay, so this is the connector after I've taken it out, and I pulled the little rubber plugs out of the end, so that's what they look like. And then if you look at the end of this connector, so holding it this way, so the lock, that little lock tab is on the top, and then the right side, looking at it like this, will be the positive terminal. You can verify that, testing the connector on the motorcycle, but as I've checked it, so the right side will be positive, the left side will be negative as looking at it like this, but the wires actually will go in the other end. So you just have to keep track of which side you're on. But so what you need is pins and seals, and what I did is I found a kit on Amazon, and I'll put the number up for this, but this was a kit I bought a long time ago for fixing some lights on a car, but it happens to have the right connectors and the right pins for that connector. So I'll pull this one out. So it's one of these. Let's see if I can just set it over here. So it's a flat blade. I'll get a measurement for you as well to show you how wide it is, but it's flat. And then you also need to make sure that the back side has a little hole in it. I don't know if you can see that little hole right there. So what that does, when you poke that into the connector, there's a little bump inside the connector that will pop in that hole, and that's what holds that pin in. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my connectors, and then I've got these little rubber seals. There's different sizes for different size wire. You put one of those over the wire and then put the connector on, and that seals the backside, helps keep moisture and dirt out of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and wire this up. I'll show you the kit I got then. This is the power port I bought, again off Amazon. Nothing special about it. There's all kinds of choices. The one I got has a standard USB and then has a USB-C plug on it, and then the middle is a screen that shows you voltage, but it comes with wire, and then it also comes with the a locking ring. Put it in there, and this is extra. You won't need this, but I'll get that all wired up and then show you how that works. Okay, so this is what it looks like after I've got it wired up. As you can see, the pin on the right is the red wire, which will be the positive, and then that's going to what's marked positive on the back of this, if you can see that or not. So then the next thing to do is feed this through the dash, and then feed this ring on the back and tighten it up. And I'll show you here. I was going to show you this earlier. I took this top screw out so we could get in there a little easier. So we can tip this out, and you can see on the back side it's just a single Phillips screw that's holding this cap on. So just take that out and then feed the wires through and tighten it back up on the back side. So I'm going to do that next, and I'll show you what it looks like and power it up. Okay, so I've got it in that spot. Got the wiring run and plugged it into the plug down here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the key on, and we've got power. So you can see this one, the one I happen to get, reads voltage, but whatever you decide to purchase, you can get whatever you want. One thing else I wanted to show you as long as we're here, under the seat, if you use the key, pop the back seat off, and there's two bolts you take out, and you can take the main seat off, and then underneath the seat, if you look right here, there is another plug just like the one that's up under the front fairing, so you can get power down here as well. And Kawasaki offers a kit for a power plug that plugs into that and bolts in down here, so you can have a switch power under the seat and power whatever you want to charge from underneath there. So if you prefer that, you can do exactly what we did. Just use that plug right there. You see that's just taped to that wiring loom. Just take tape off and do exactly what we did to the front one. So hope this video helped you. Give me a thumbs up if it did, and good luck in your project.